Well, hello, it's Lee. It's been a little while since I was able to put out a video for those of you who had been up to date with me, so to speak. Otherwise, of course, as anyone who's trying to have a genuine heart, welcome anyone at all to have a little conversation with me or put up with me blabbing for a little while. Basically, I had just been very busy with a certain job that had taken or required many long hours. So I had no energy or else no time. If I had the time, I had not the energy. If I had the energy, I had not the time for a video for quite a little bit. So c'est la vie, and sometimes you need a break too. It's, life changes when you have children, that kind of thing. Nonetheless, peace be with you sincerely. And this talk is going to be just about what I was just saying a second ago in relation to your own life and whomever else and humanity as a whole. When we can think about our energy and as how it is being distributed and in what ways and which faculties of the self, the totality of the self in these incarnate bodies are being distributed and where. And of course, many people, and certainly in many nations across the globe, that have been experiencing an overabundance of feeling rushed or stressed in the work life, personal life, not always finding the best balance, opportunities to have a job and make income, competition for these jobs, anything in general, just life. We have to work, or we have to have money in some way to survive these bodies, to keep things. If we're going to choose to be someone that is able to take advantage of the available services to give assistance or something like that, that's also very good. It's a good thing we have that in the day and age. It seems like it's not enough sometimes. And in my previous life, and I don't mean a past life, I mean previously in this particular life, I had experienced needing some assistance, social assistance as well. So I know what that can be like. I'm talking about things of the body, but it all has to do with your life's experience. And we are all of us in a planet that is trying to slowly improve, and at the same time it also seems that the madman is still out there that's trying to self-destruct, or the mad lady, the mad entity, the devil, call it what we will, the negative insecurities that are inside of us that create these problems. Because of course whatever is a problem inside can potentially, indeed, and has manifested outwardly. So the video's topic is about trying to find balance, and I'll try and keep it short, not too boring for anybody, but I haven't had a video in a while, so I'm eager to blab, but I also know the patience of various persons and different age groups and such, so I'll try and be aware of it as I can. Forgive me if I ramble a bit, that's how it is sometimes. Bon. Well, the mind, the body, and the soul are looking whether a certain level or portion of our consciousness is aware of it or not. That we're trying to find comfortable unity with those main three. And let's just simplify it and say those main three without getting into semantics and overly putting too many categories and sub-clauses on it. Let's just mind, body, soul. It's simple, and people understand what that means. So the balance that we are trying to find is a wholesome experience while we are in a body, to be holy, to be whole, and to find a way of having a life, work, social, spiritual balance, that there is harmony and not one against the other. If I can quote the Christ for a moment, then I can certainly remember him saying, it's very difficult to serve God and mammon, meaning you have an earthly life or else you have a spiritual life. The two together can be very difficult sometimes. It doesn't have to be, but even subconsciously or consciously we can tell ourselves that there's a conflict, even if there doesn't have to be, for example. One of the wise sayings of the Gautama, the Shakyamuni Buddha of this age, Siddhartha, was to say one of the key best moments of enlightenment is to be comfortable whether you're in a body or out. It wouldn't matter to you which planet you were in. I mean, okay, you don't want to be in a hellish place and, bad things should bother. But when the inside has really understood these things, then it won't matter so much whether you're here or there, or whether you're don't have a bad job. You can't be a Buddha and be a thief, for example, like that, or causing damage to somebody else. But the point is, to find the true balance within ourselves, we can indeed do that with some application. It's very difficult. This day and age is certainly stressful and pressuring, but then again, if we look at history and ask our own souls and our soul memories, was there ever a life that was not? I mean, there's always some sort of difficulty. So, to find a really good life-work balance and have your spiritual life thriving, because we can have our energies, like I said, distributed to different places, and then one could be taxed, so to say, more heavily than another, and then you find a deficit. Let's just say you're working very physically, like I just was for that last little while, and then I had no energy to do other things, so I felt, I wish I had more energy to do this and that and the other, but I just simply didn't. So it's also being to forgive yourself and to say, yeah, I know, and to be realistic about it as much as we can, because even the great powers that be, and I'm not talking about the human powers that be, that's nothing much. The grand scheme of things certainly can understand the dilemma of a soul incarnate on a planet like this. It's very interesting, to say at least, very interesting experiences that we have. It can be a lot of beautiful things, can be a lot of painful, difficult things, but we're trying to discover the self, we're trying to find the Christ consciousness, the Buddha mind, we're trying to remember the original self, the original pure mind, whatever we like to call it in our own terms that we all have. But to find that balance, to bring that as much as we can into the now, into our particular life, with our particular family and friends and situation, our financial situation, our social life, or this, that, and the other, and make most of it and try to find happiness, but also to have progress for the soul. Because we can get stuck into the trap of getting comfortable in the planet. Let's just say you have an abundance of wealth or something like that, and then because of the comforts and the easiness and the lack of stress on things, and the lack of concern as to say, why should I think about other things? I'm having a great time here. Which is also why it is said that it is easier for the camel, text message, it is easier for the camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Simply to say, not to say rich people are evil per se exactly, but it's to say that when you are comfortable here in this plane of existence, you're still mortal, you're still subject to sickness and death and all that good stuff, bad stuff. But unless you have a moment to disengage from this reality and think about bigger things on the other side and the original things, then you might have a stumbling block that stops you from doing that for the very fact that you're very comfortable. So again, there are a lot of fine lines, because we're trying to find those people who are sincerely searching to find the answers. What is the paranormal? What is the higher realities? What are the different dimensions? What are the hierarchies? Where is my own original self? Have I left something to come back to it? It's a big trip. So all these things that we're trying to discover and recover about ourselves and have the awarenesses of. And then we have to live our lives. We have to serve these bodies to whatever degree. Otherwise, we have a prolonged sickness or a quicker life and even more misery. So, just like when Siddhartha was trying to find enlightenment, just to speak of the Buddha again, and he found that, doing too much denial and too much asceticism, or whatever you want to call it, whether I pronounce that right or not, but to do too much of that defeats the purpose, because that's living in denial. So to deliberately put yourself through sufferings and, I'm a bad person if I want to have money plus serve the divinity, well, you have to have a little bit of something to have some kind of ability to go ahead and do that. This isn't a day and age where everybody can just go and live in the woods or something like that, right? Can I see some ID? Do you own that land? Okay, there's lots of complications that never existed before. This is a very over-micromanaged planet. And a lot of things have been for the best, and a lot of things have been a little bit detrimental and annoying. And I can testify to that from my own thoughts and things that I've tried and wanted to try. I know what it's like to say, but then if I do that, then there's that problem, there's that. So thinking a few steps ahead and saying, So really, and I don't have the answers. I can't pretend to know all the answers of what's best for everybody's situation. You can only examine your own life and say, well, how do I have a work-life balance and which friends should I keep, which people should I let go, friends or even family that are not. Okay, it's not to say, well, it's not for my greater good, therefore I'll cut you out. Because sometimes we do have to suffer other people, and other people have to suffer us. That's called love. Sometimes there's tough love, all sorts of things. It's easy to just say, oh, I'll walk away from it all. No, that also can be cowardice. But the point is to really say, for the greater good of all involved, what should I do? That's the point. So you can ask yourself now, ask yourself tomorrow and tonight, whenever you have the moment, to say, am I having a content life enough? If I'm lacking something, what is it? Where is it? Am I harming myself by convincing myself, if I do that, therefore I absolutely cannot do that? Because that can be very tricky as well, right? To say, oh, well, if I want to follow a holy path, therefore by necessity I must have absolute poverty. But that is not always necessarily compatible in the day and age. If someone can do it, voila, if you can live your life with no possessions and be a wandering mendicant and such and a prophet and a healer or whatever, a Buddha walking, whatever, then by all means go for it, and I would congratulate you. But in my own experience, to become that and to do that, especially before I had my family, before a wife and kids and all that, and I questioned these things a lot, and I said, well, would I be truly happy doing that? I felt yes and no. This is personally I'm speaking. I felt, yeah, I could do it, but would I be happy doing it? Should I have tried it more? Should I, we can have regrets or not, but really it's about that. What is the real balance? To walk, as they say about the true shaman, to walk with a foot in both worlds. Can I be extremely spiritual and have a comfortable enough human earthly life? I think the answer indeed is yes. Each person will have a different description of what that ought to be. I don't think we can really enforce our own opinions on someone else. If you look at spirituality versus religion is just simplified in my description of it, if you like, is that it's a particular discipline to follow, or set of disciplines. It doesn't mean it's the best for everybody. The true spirituality is naturally, by automatic default, unlocking mind and unlocking heart. Natural soul progress, soul evolution, development. That is what spirituality is. If the particular religion, if a particular lifestyle, if a particular job is helping you to increase mind and heart, excellent. If it is making us have duress, stress, denial, anger, fear, aggression, all these things, dark side you may follow, right? Like Yoda, anger, fear, aggression. So if we get into that and we're conflicting ourselves, then voila, where's our balance? How to make the mind, body, and soul very happy? Well, it's up to each one to try and find and to try and create, because we're so reliant, and we're taught even from children that there are these authority figures having these things set up for us, and we often forget about real self-empowerment also. Never mind what the world says, with the way things are, how do I have some compatibility with it, and yet have my own life for myself, for my development, and by thinking of that, my own greater good. But the more I become better at serving my greater good, then I can become better at helping others for theirs. Because when we are happy and when we are in balance, we can help each other a lot better. If we're in denial and stress and having difficulties, it's so hard to help other people. When you have kids, you have a job, you have different things, different factors, especially, then you have like I said, your energies are being distributed and pulled in different ways, so it can be hard. So it's for us to each find it and to forgive ourselves and to be easy on ourselves too, and not too hard. And at the same token, or on the other side of the token, but the same token, is to not be too lax and easy. Well, I got it good, I'm cozy, doesn't matter. Yet sickness, death come. Well, that's just how it is. So really, my message simply is to say, and I'm even reminding myself and finding new ways to be aware of it for myself too, to say a foot in both worlds and really comfortable as such, like that. The happy shaman, the calm Buddha, the disciple of the Christ mind, whatever we want to call it. To have that balance, to have the focus and that priority in the right place. So if the focus is your own development, spiritual enlightenment, and to help others also, then what work-life balance do you want to have to complement that and not fight against that? Because like Jesus did indeed say, it is hard to serve two masters, and I know what that is like. Trying to find a spiritual life and then having to work a job to support family and stuff, it's a difficult stretch. But I mean, it's life, right? It's reality. And trying as much as possible to have the two being compatible and not fighting each other, because that can be hard. So we have expectations we give ourselves, we have expectations we think others have of us, but really, the more happy and content we are, the better we are at serving and functioning anything in general, self, others, and the improvement of things. So that could be the main goal, is a self-contentment, because, like I said, and as you know, when in that modality, essence being, then for each other we're great, instead of being, we're in traffic in the car, we're on a bus, or we're walking, there's lots of people around. We're not all smiling at each other, all buddies, we're all skeptical and a bit fearful and wondering, well, I know this and how this knowledge does that person. But if everybody's thinking, okay, there's a few quote-unquote dummies, I shouldn't be me, I'm just saying, younger souls or whatnot, or people focusing on a lot of pain. I don't mean to be rude, I'm just kind of making a joke about it. I've been a dummy many times, oh yes indeed, and I will in the future. But the point is, we don't know what each other knows really, unless we talk about it, and we're in a strange planet that's trying to find that balance. The East was focusing on traditions too much, and the West was focusing on no traditions and the new thing. But now the world is coming together, north, south, whatever, into one big amalgamation. Now we're going to say, well, where's the earth soul? Where's the soul of humanity within that amalgamation? Part of my text message. Within that amalgamation, where's the current human earth soul? Because some are trying to go into bigger things, some are still very attached to earthly things. Lots in the middle. So what's happening? Who wants to graduate? Who needs to repeat the grade, or who just hasn't had the time or the allotment to do something? I mean, I don't know. But that's just it. Through struggle and through pain and through beautiful moments also, and for foreshadowing of things or forelightening of things, we find ourselves willing to progress, to find that balance, to create it as much as possible, because we are all creators. We have a lot more power than we think. We have a lot more power than what we've been taught that we have. So to harness it for the greater good of all, and to do it, and to be happy in it. And that's the great crusade of being here, I guess you want to call it that way, for a term. Well, I wish you the best, sincerely. Love and light be with you, and those are my thoughts for the moment. Depending on how job and things go, I don't know how often I'll be able to put more videos and end up with sequences, but there you go. Have a lovely moment indeed, and we'll catch you soon. Alright, bye.